Now for the top story tonight. Reaction joining us from his New York City headquarters is Donald Trump. So do you regret making it personal with the judge?
Look, I've had very, very unfair decisions. People said this should have gone away a long time ago in summary judgment. The defendant in the case was a horror show from the other side, so they asked that the defendant get out. You know, the plaintiff in the case was an absolute disaster for them. And they asked whether or not, they went to the judge, they asked whether or not the plaintiff could get out of the case. I mean, she said all great things about the school. She has a tape of her saying great things, and she has a written statement signed by her saying great things, and the judge dismissed her from the case but left the case stand. We thought we were going to win the case. I don't care if the judge is Mexican or not. I'm going to do great with the Mexican people because I provide jobs, so I don't care about Mexican, but we're being treated very unfairly, Bill, very, very unfairly.
Okay, so wouldn't it have been better then if you didn't bring up the Mexican thing at all and just said what you said here tonight? Because look, you're being sued. I understand we did an analysis of your lawsuits history, and you win most of your lawsuits. You're a big guy. Guys are going to come after you. You know that. So wouldn't it have been better if you just said, look, I don't think I'm being treated fairly. Here's what we have, and let the Mexican thing alone?
Well, the question was asked to me. You know, I mean, all these times, every time I go, I want to talk about how lousy the economy is. I want to talk about how badly we're doing against ISIS, how badly we're doing on the border. But every time I go into a show, all they want to do is talk about Trump University. Now, I will say this. I think we've turned it because thousands and thousands of students have signed documents saying it was a great school, that they learned a lot. It was wonderful. They gave it high marks. I mean, I think we've turned it. So at least by talking about it, people understand it's a civil lawsuit that should have been dismissed a long time ago, but the judge is treating me very unfairly.
All right.
The questions were asked, and, you know, frankly, I don't even like wasting my time talking about this lawsuit. I'm going to win this lawsuit, but we should win it on summary judgment. This shouldn't be a lawsuit that goes on forever. When you have thousands of students saying that the place was great, it was a great school, and they loved it, this should be dismissed on summary judgment, Bill. This shouldn't be a lawsuit.
Okay. Now, you know why people ask you about Mexican things and any ethnic group, Muslims, whatever it may be. The strategy that you're going to use against Hillary Clinton, and correct me if I'm wrong, I can't read your mind, is that she's not suitable to be president because she's not honest. That's your strategy, right?
She's not honest. She's not suitable. I don't even think she's capable. You look at her decisions. I mean, take a look at where she's gone. Every decision she's made practically, she's made so many bad decisions. She would be a disaster as president of our country.
Okay, so that's your strategy, to tell the voters, look, she's not honest and she's not capable. The strategy being used against you, and surely you know this, is that you don't like Muslims. You don't like women. You don't like Mexicans. Personally, you don't like them. And the strategy the Democratic Party is using is cleave off these groups, all right? Demonize him within these groups, and he won't have enough votes to win the presidency. That's why they're asking about the judge. They don't really care, they being the press, about Trump you. They don't care. But as soon as you mention Mexican or Muslim, bang, that's why they're doing it.
All right, look, number one, I have great respect for women. I was the one that really broke the glass ceiling on behalf of women more than anybody in the construction industry. And my relationship, I think, is going to end up being very good with women. Plus, they want to see a strong country that's secure, and she's not going to be able to do that. Look at Benghazi. She was sleeping when the phone call came in. She did the ad on the phone call at 3 in the morning. She was sleeping. She was sound asleep, or wherever she was, but she wasn't answering that call when our ambassador and the others needed help.
Okay.
So you take a look. So I think I'm going to do great with women. Now, with Mexico, I want a strong border. There's no question about that. And with Mexico, and I'm not talking about Mexican people. You know, I have thousands of Hispanics working for me right now, Bill, and thousands over the years, and they're great people. I'm going to bring jobs back. That's why I think I'm going to do well with the Hispanics.
That's the play. If they buy your economic program, you'll win. But look, just yesterday,
losing jobs. Hey, Bill, our country is losing jobs like one after another, whether it's Carrier Air Conditioning or Nabisco or Ford. They're all moving out. They're building plants in Mexico. And I'm not knocking Mexico. I'm not even knocking the leader of Mexico and the leaders of Mexico. What I'm doing is knocking our president for being grossly incompetent. He's allowing our country, they're stealing our country from us, and we have to stop it.
Okay. Now, on the women front, the Boston Globe yesterday writes that you pay men in your campaign a third more in salary than you pay women. And this goes back to my theme that this is what you're going to be confronted with. Number one, is that true? Do you pay men a third more than women in your campaign?
The answer is no, and I just had to check because I heard this was going to be a question. I don't know, I have a good source, and somebody said that this could be a question. I just checked it, Bill, and the answer is no. And in fact, if you look at the Clinton Foundation, they pay a lot more to men than they do women, and you look at other things that she's been involved in, and frankly, surprisingly, she pays a lot more to men than she pays to women, and that's come out over the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Now,
I just checked
let me get this on the record, though. The Globe says that according to Federal Election Commission records from April, all right, the last month available, that this is true, that you pay women a third less than men in your campaign. Now, there could be reasons for that.
My people just said no. Okay. I can only go, and there are reasons because they're different jobs, and that's what I heard. They're much different jobs, but generally speaking, and if you look at my company and what I pay women versus men, in many cases I pay women more money than I pay for men, and frankly, now I'll probably get a lawsuit from my men that work for me. But you know what? I pay women for the same job more money than men.
Why do you do that?
So because they're very talented. When
so you pay on your perception.
Based on talent.
So you pay salaries based on your perception of ability?
I pay on talent. I pay on ability. I do. I pay on ability.
Right. That's what I do.
And in the case, I have some women that are making a lot of money, and they're making more money than men in comparable positions. But I just checked with my people on the election stuff, and they tell me that that's wrong. They're different jobs and different categories and everything else. But when you end it all out, it's essentially the same.
All right. Fair interview?
Always fair.
No. Remember you told me I had to see a psychiatrist one time. Remember that?
No.
And then I told you you'd have to pay for it. If you paid for it, then I would.
Right. Now you're always fair, sort of.
Sort of. I get it. If the judge recuses himself, it'll be interesting. But I think the judge is an honest man. I don't think he's hosing you. I really don't. I checked him. But
well, I hope so. I want him to be.
Yeah, I think he's an honest guy.
Mexican or not Mexican, I want him to be all I want him to do is give me a fair shake. When we have thousands of people saying the courses were great, why does this thing continue to go forward?
Believe me, nothing in this case is going to go unchallenged. That's for sure on both sides. Always good to see you.
Bill,
Thank you for taking the time. I want to focus on the
economy. I want to focus on the military. I want to focus on things that we need to focus on, not a civil lawsuit that I'm going to end up winning anyway.
All right. Donald Trump, everyone. We, of course, would like Hillary Clinton to come on the program, and she is welcome anytime, as is Bernie Sanders.